It's okay. All right. So I have started a live stream on YouTube. I have shared the link. I'm just waiting for people to join, and we'll start in like 2 minutes because the whole thing will be able to like they can replay it on YouTube if they want to, so they can easily see it. We'll start very soon. Thank you. Okay. So I will be introducing you to. Wait, I want to show that you can actually hear me. All right. Yes, yes, I can. I can hear you quite fine. All right. So I will be introducing you, like reading your bio to those who are um here. One quick second. Okay. So welcome everyone to the second edition of Exhibit A. Today we are with JCI Councillor Risqat Fijabi. She is the past president of JCI Unilag for the 2023-2024 year and was also the personal assistant to the immediate past president of JCI Nigeria. That is JCI Senator Oluwatoyin Atonda. So Rizka Fijabi is a graduate of Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of Lagos with a strong interdisciplinary background in technology, design, and leadership. She's also a passionate product designer who has worked with startups and companies across diverse sectors to create intuitive, user centered products. Her design work has reached users in multiple countries in Africa, Europe, and Middle East, contributing to digital transformation and business growth. Risas is deeply committed to social impact and leadership through her work with JCI, that's Union Chamber International. She has spearheaded high impact initiatives focused on employability, access to technology, and community development. She served as the 2023-2024 president of JCI Unilag and also served as a member of JCI Nigeria Presidency Team in 2024. In 2023, she received the Social Impact Award from ELD UNILAG for her contributions to social impact and sustainable development. Risqat thrives at the intersection of innovation and purpose, and she is driven by the belief that meaningful work can transform lives and communities. So that is the bio of our guest for today. I like to confirm that people can hear me, but I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so I assume that all is well. Okay, so um first question for you would be second. Our first question for you is you are a product designer specializing in fintech and B2B service. Oh, software as a service. I learned that. You've worked with brands like Carousel and Marmar. Your tenure as the PA to national president ended and you recently graduated. That's a lot at once. So right now, what your day to day actually look like? I can hear you.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for the warm introduction. I'm not sure where you did that bio from because that
I
is so
think
descriptive and up
I
to date.
asked Director Kufu, and that's what she sent me. That was like February or so. I went to this interview since, so that's what I have.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, my name is Risqat, and I'm just a girl. That's what I like to say. So yeah. To answer your question, what's my day to day like now? I believe my day to day is really just working, right? Waking up, trying to figure out the next phase of a product that I'm working on, working with teams, collaborating with developers and all. So, I mean, I'm very much still, let's say, invested in the volunteering bits, but more like I'm taking a little bit of break for now. But yeah, mostly work product wise, product design wise, and all. So yeah.
Wait, I didn't get that thing. So after product wise, what's the thing that you said?
Product designer, like anything product design related. Yeah.
Oh. All right, random interjection. Like, what even got you into product design in the first place? Because I looked at your LinkedIn and I was like, what? Like you've been there for a long time now. So what? So what got you in there?
Okay, so I think that was during COVID, if I remember correctly, right? And everybody was still picking up a tech skill. I had picked up Python. I think I what I was going to use Python for, but I just knew that. I mean, everybody was coding and it was cool. I was like, oh, okay, let me just, see what this is for. And I mean, a friend told me that the Python beats me. And I was like, so real, because I dropped it almost immediately when I picked it up, right? It wasn't exactly the fun I was expecting. And I was like, okay, what can I do? Then I think I delved into digital marketing a bit, just really in a bit to explore the tech space, right? Because I wanted to be quote unquote useful during the COVID break and like the strike time. And then I picked that up for a while. I did like a whole course on Coursera. I think I finished it, but it still wasn't like what I wanted, right? And then a friend just said something about UI UX design, and I was like, okay. So naturally, I consider myself a creative person. I like to design. I would go on Canva to just like design stuff, right? And then she tried to explain that this is more than just designing flyers. This is actually like designing products, applications that people use. And I was like, okay, that is cool. I mean, no offense to graphic designers, right? But I wanted something more that I could interact with, animations and all of those stuff. So I was like, okay, let me just like, check this out. Then I think I enrolled in one side also internship. It was one of those free boot camps that were really like going on during the COVID period and all. So I enrolled, I got a hang of it and worked on projects. And I think from there I really just picked it up. And I also did a course on it here. So my, you know, pathway to design was really just born out of I want to do something outside civil. I can't be waiting on Unilag for the entirety. I need to do something, and I just picked it up. And since then, I found it very interesting. I feel.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad because like I saw Praise and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I looked through your post. I was seeing all the cool things you design. I was like, oh my god, I did not know because when I joined and I saw you, you looked like someone who just go into law. I don't even like I don't know why I assumed law, but I was like, oh, this is like very stern faced lawyer person. And then when I was doing it, I was like, oh my god, product design. That was just surprising to me. So that's very cool, actually. That's really cool. All right, for the next question. You were recently awarded a JCI counselorship. What does that recognition represent to you personally, and what comes next for you within JCI?
Okay, so my award recognition as a counselor was really just proof of the work that I had been doing for like a lot of years leading up to that time. And it was just basically to cement my impact in the JCI world, what I've done with JCI Unilag, what I've done beyond JCI Unilag. So that for me really felt like a good recognition that at the end of the day, after all my hard work, this is something to show for it, quote and unquote, right? So basically continuous development. I mean, if if you check the certificate of the councillorship, right, because you're awarded like a certificate kind of thing, you see, continuous development. You have to continuously invest in the organization. You have to continuously do more. So basically, that's what it means for me. And in as much as I say that I'm, taking a break, not exactly a break, because from time to time I find myself still roped in and still doing a lot of JCI things, right? I mean, this is for one of the things. So yeah, I think what it really means for me is continually giving back, because I know how much this has given to me. So continuously giving back to the organization in any capacity that I can. So yeah.
Yeah. So right now you're saying like you're kind of on a break, but not really like a break.
I would say a break, but if something comes up, I have to show up. Yes, but yeah, something like that.
Okay, all right then. All right. Next question. Now we're looking back. While now looking back on your journey. So you studied civil and environmental engineering at UNILAG, which is not really the typical background for someone that ends up in civic leadership or product design. Just say, at least tech wise. What was the version of Risqat that first walked into JCI, and what made you join?
Okay, very interesting question, because this is one that I like to tell a lot. So when I joined JCI, I wasn't going to join JCI. I was going to join an organization where I could impact, or where I could do more. So it really just, I mean, it was any organization really. And then I would say, oh, I want ISEC. No offense to ISEC people. I think ISEC people are really cool. I have them as friends, but I would always preach ISEC then. And then my sister is a JCI member, and she was a JCI member then. And then we'll almost be like comparing ASEC, JCI, but oh yeah, ASEC is cool. But for some weird reason, every time I wanted to either purchase a membership form or join, I would just be met with, oh, we have closed till next semester. Oh, time is up or something. And there was a person that was like, okay, you have just one job to do. When it opens up, just tell me. This was like, oh, okay. And then I reached out and they was like, oh, it just closed. And I'm like, really? So at the end of the day, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So at the end of the day, I was just like, okay, you know what? Let me actually just join JCI. I mean, impact is the impact anywhere else, right? And if you look at ISEC and JCI, they almost have like the same.
Oh dear. Hold on. I think I lost you. Well, I think I lost you. You were saying that
Okay.
they have the same.
Yeah, sort of. They are geared towards, making impacts, leadership wise and all of those stuff. So I was like, okay, you know what, let me just join one, right? And I actually later found this site to be very cool. So when I joined JCN UNILAG, it was like I have to build it from scratch, right? So I'm going to give context. So when I joined JCI Nigeria, I went for a conference. My sister was going for, I think she was going for the conference as well. I really can't remember. So I was like, okay, what of like Unilag representatives? Nobody. How come? How is that possible? Unilag should be IS delegates or something. How come there's no representative from Unilag? I was like, okay. Then I went for the next conference and I was the only member. Then I reached out to my president. I was like, oh, is anybody from Unilag? I was like, oh, I doesn't think so. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just go. Right. So I was the only delegate. I saw how other schools were, and I knew that we could be so much better in terms of representation, participation, being active in like JCI Nigeria as a whole. And I was just like, you know what, we need to do so much better. So my thought process coming from, okay, I want to join an organization where I can make impact, quickly changed to, we have to fix this. We have to be more active. We need to do more in JCI Unilag, right? So, I joined, and then almost very soon after when I joined, I was given the role of director of programs and project. And I was like, okay, let's plan our very first project, right? Then that was the educated child project, which I'll probably not talk on now, so because of time. So, we did all of those things. And to answer your question, so I don't deviate, I tend to talk a lot, right? But really, I would say that my coming into JCI was basically because I wasn't comfortable with how things were being done. I wanted us to do better. I wanted us to be out there. We can't be university of first choice and then Uniben is taking the lead with conferences, right? I knew that we could be so much more. I knew that Unilag had a lot of potential. So my interest soon shifted from, you know what, let's actually do something. And there's something JCI says, see the need and take the lead. You can't be complaining that, things are bad and actually not do anything about it. Like, do something. You can do something, right? So it was really more about trying to change that, scenario. Not even necessarily as a president, because I don't know if you know me, I'm not a fan of the spotlight. I really just like to do things from like behind the scenes and all. But at some point I felt like, okay, you know what? To actually really make this change happen, maybe I have to be the president at some point, right? But yeah, that's basically what my thought process during JCI was like.
Oh, okay. Because when you were like, I don't like the spotlight, I was like, you ran for presidency. What do you mean you don't like the spotlight? You're president of JCI Unilag. The spotlight will find you. The spotlight will find you by force.
Yes, I agree, but oh well.
All right. Um, and also, like you already said, before you became president, you said as director of programs and projects. And I believe, I'm not sure, you can correct me, but I believe um it was in your tenure that elected child was either created or it was taken to like a whole new level. So you plan elected child and then you built a partnership with JCI Lagos Metropolitan. And of course, in all these things, there were setbacks along the way. So what core lessons did you learn from these events that have also helped you in your product designer career?
Okay, so during my time as I can't remember if it was director of programs and projects or when I was the president, but basically when Educate a Child was birthed, I think school was on a break. Either we were on strike or we were on a break, or I don't know. I really can't remember like the timeline, but I knew that school was on a long period of, nobody was in school basically. And then we had to plan this with everyone in their houses, right? I remember then the project chairperson I worked with, who soon became the president after that, President Isaac, he had to come from Ibadan for that project, right? I was staying in Ogun State. The president there, I think, was also staying in Ogun State. We're really just like all over the place. But one thing that I took out of that was we were still able to make it happen. So in the face of challenges, in the face of even the fact that school was not, because we could really just go with the excuse of, oh, school is not in section, proximity is like a problem, and there's no way we can plan this. Let's just postpone it or let's just do something else, right? But I knew how important that was. And I was like, school is in session or not, we are doing this. So everybody traveled down and came from their various places to like make it work, right? And I think that's something like very, very important, right? And I mean, it soon changed how I began to see things. So it was more like not seeing things as a setback or a challenge, but seeing things as, okay, how can we redefine this? How can we make this possible? Okay, these are the cards we are dealt with. This is the situation on ground. We can't beat the VCO. We can't say there shouldn't be COVID, or I really can't remember like what was going on. That school wasn't in session for a long time. But like you really can't change the cards you're dealt with. So you just have to like make something out of it. So that's something that it really taught me. I remember partnership with JCI was also probably like an employability fair as well. And that's something that we also had to make sure it came into fruition as well, irrespective of what was going on. So, long story short, one thing I have learned from this all this series of events, and dare I say, as a president, you're going to have a lot of setbacks. If you like to plan, I hate to break it to you, where a lot of times those plans will just flop, right? So you have to just be prepared to just shoulder anything that comes, right? You have to be prepared to anything that comes your way. You have to be able to take it, right, and not just wail or just get lost in thinking and all of this stuff. So that's something that I learned from all those scenarios, setbacks, and all of that, that you always have to pick up your boats, you have to be innovative. And there's actually a very interesting thing. So JCI Educate a Child right now has evolved from what it used to be, right? When JCI Educate a Child was birthed, it was to give school materials to children, right? Undeserving communities and all of that. But during my time, inflation happened, right? I think that was when dollar dipped or something. I really can't remember. So things were crazily expensive. But we still had to do the project. We still had to do something. Then the idea came to, okay, why don't we actually go to a school to actually teach these children? That's still a form of empowering a young student, a child. And I was like, okay, we can actually do this. So this was actually born out of a way to cut costs for us in a way, but we still kind of made it happen. And I think we won an award for that. So in my head, I was really just thinking, how are we to pull this off? We don't have money, we don't have materials to donate. And then I think we had actually spread ourselves thin in the sense that we had a lot of projects competing for our attention. In the past, it was just Educate a Child. Now, moving into the next tenure, we had JCI Nigeria debate, we had Else Week, we had Educate a Child, we had something else, I really can't remember. So it was like a lot of projects. You can't keep going to your alumni to say we need money for this, we need money for this. Abba. You can't, so you have to just be innovative. So basically, our lack of funds, quote and unquote, at that time was not enough reason to stop us from not doing the Educate a Child project. We had to take it a step forward. And I believe that Educate a Child project has evolved. How it is now, it is more fulfilling to people, seeing people go to these schools to teach. And I was like, okay, this is actually very interesting. Something that was born out of we trying to look for innovative ways to still get something done. So what I'm just trying to say is, in the face of challenges, that should not be enough reason to just back out, right? It should be the reason that you would pick up your thinking cap and be like, okay, you know what other way can we get the same thing done? How can we thrive even in the face of this challenge? How can we still get this thing done? What can we do differently? Is there something that we are missing out? Is there something that we can pick up on all of those? So, I mean, that will just naturally make you start thinking differently and seeing things differently. And I think that's one of the core lessons I really learned from, overseeing those projects in JCI.
That wow. Like I was just when you were saying, oh, like your plans will like not work out. I said, oh, but I will cry because I remember going to shade some info. I don't know, Bex. When I went for NatCon just in October, every plan we had failed. This opening ceremony, we left Akure in like the afternoon. I got home after sun had set. Every plan we kept planning. We're like, oh, wake up by this time. Be out of like be most of this time. Maybe like be most by like 9 a.m. and by 9:50 I'm still waiting for everybody. And we're just waiting for everybody to show up. Like I understand what you're saying, but it's very frustrating. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
But
very.
like you did a really good job like with your tenure. I read the things you did. I read your Substack talking about what you did. It was like wow, that's a lot. Before even in JCI existed, like you were doing a lot, and that's really cool. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So another thing I saw is that your tenure produced a 480% membership increase in 10 months, which is a record that was unmatched for like 5 years, over 5 years. You've consistently credited your board, that's the right family, for that. So, as someone now working in environments where you have to influence without always having authority, how did leading that team reshape how you collaborate professionally?
All right. So first of all, shout out to the Rights family. I don't know if any of the Rights family or the Rights board members are actually like watching this, but I think my board members were the best, and that's something I always say. And it wasn't something that was incidental or something that just happened. It was something that was very, very deliberate. And how I made sure that happened was ownership ownership. right? It wasn't about what I wanted. It wasn't about what I wanted to do. It was about what we wanted to do. So that shift from what I wanted to what we all want to do made everybody hands on deck. So it was really about me selling the vision of what we want to achieve to them, and everybody equally having that high energy, high drive to actually getting that thing done. So I would say something that really did it for me was everybody had ownership in a way. Everybody saw themselves making this hanging like better with different yardsticks that we had according to our different portfolios. Everybody, that shared vision was there. So I would say that was what really helped us. I mean, you would have some people that would default here and there, but for the most part, everybody was driven by their own purpose towards that shared vision and that shared goal. So I think that was what really, really helped me. And how I currently like translate that into like how I work is basically just selling the idea to people. So if I want to get, something done in the professional space, instead of micromanaging or giving instructions or, I just sell the vision to you, sell the idea to you, such that you adopt it as yours and even think that it is your own idea and vision and start working towards it, because it is easier for me to make you believe what I believe than just me giving you instructions, because at some point you probably be confused, there's no clarity. And one very important thing to note is when people do not get work done, when people do not do things according to maybe what they should do, a lot of things could be a factor, right? But one of the factors that is actually very common is lack of clarity. They don't just know what to do. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to approach it and all of those things. So telling the vision to them, giving them resources on how they can actually achieve that is very, very important. So that's something that I really did for JCI Unilag, and I also, apply professionally, sell the vision to you, make you understand why this is important. So naturally, you'll be inclined towards working to achieving that. And there will be less micromanaging and less back and forth and train blows and fighting each other. So yeah. So I think that's it for me.
That's very good. It reminds me of when people always say, when it comes to social justice issues, don't just give them statistics. Don't say, oh, 1 in 4 people have this or something. Tell it like a story. Find somebody's story, a couple of people's story, and just highlight those stories. And when you make it personal like that, people are way more like likely to be on board with what you're selling. They may want to donate more, they may want to fight for your cause more, they'll be willing to listen to you. But when it's like, oh, do you know that 20% of people like deal with this issue? Nobody wants to hear, like, no, like, we cannot grasp the numbers. It still sounds like it's a you problem. Like, make it an everybody problem. And I find that I heard that like when I was in primary school or so through one ad like this, and it just stuck with me ever since. So yeah, that's a very good like method. That makes a lot of sense, honestly. Okay, so you won both the best growth program and the best impact program in the same tenure. Now, growth and impact are often treated as competing priorities. Like more members can mean diluted culture. I have to like just be general, and then more projects can mean stretch capacity. So, how did you hold both, and does that tension show up in your product design work today as well?
All right. So growth and impact. First of all, I don't think growth and impact should be seen as competing priorities, first of all. I think they are both equally important, right? It may just be that at a particular point in time, you may need one more than more. Now, I'm talking in the sense of maybe recruiting members and doing projects and all of those, right? At the end of the day, having a roadmap is very, very important. And I'll give context, right? So when JCI Nigeria started, or I don't want to say started, but when I, got very involved in it, JCI Nigeria, and we were very few, probably like 10 members, if I remember correctly. That's including board members, including the president, right? So at that point, we needed members. I mean, that is the most obvious thing. We needed members. But how do we go about just recruiting members, inducting members? We needed to have something solid to draw them to, right? So it would have been easy. It would be easier if I come to you as, someone that doesn't know anything about this, and I show you our portfolio, I show you what we've done, and I tell you that, oh, you know what, you can be a part of us. We've done this is what we do, this is how we work, and you're like, oh, okay, this is very nice, you know what, I'll sign up. Then just because we need members, I'll just try to just get anybody and everybody, and there is no structure, there is nothing to come into, no experience to be a part of, and all of this stuff, right? So as much as we needed members in terms of like recruiting people, we also needed to do projects. So it was really just a matter of knowing the priority and what was important at that time. So as much as having members was important to us, it was also very important that we had projects. We did projects. We would have projects and literally nobody would show up. But it was still good because, I mean, we needed it for our own social proof. We needed it because these were the things we needed to pull people into the organization, right? So when it comes to, I don't think we should look at it as competing priorities. I think we should look at it as a general roadmap whereby you do something first, then at some point along the way, this is going to come along, and it's just like that, right? When you look at the product set, right, you have an idea, you want to build a product and all of these things. All the features can't go out at once. You can't have everything out. That's why the whole idea of having an MVP came from. Have what is the simplest your product can be? Which one is the most pending? Which one is the most important? What needs to go out right now? Have that one, put it out to the public, have people test it, get feedback, and continuously improve on it. So that does not mean that the other, let's say, priorities or other features are just going to be left aside. No, they're still very much in the old roadmap, but at some point you will get there, right? So I think generally, and the funny thing about JCI is you have just 1 year to lead. You have just one, like I like to say. So you can't possibly do everything. In my tenure, I wanted a lot of members, but I knew that I may not be able to achieve that. But what I can do is set a foundation for the next presidents to work on, right? Okay, fine. I want a lot of people. I want a lot of, but like I may not be able to, and that's fine. That is why sustainability is very, very important. When you have a roadmap, you have like, let's say even a 5-year plan of, after this should come in, this should come in. It is very, very important that the next person taking that position keys into the vision, sees what you see, not just coming and just, everything is just scattered and a new thing all over again, right? So continuity and sustainability is very, very important. I wanted to have a family system for the longest time, but that was not priority. I mean, we can't have family system when we have just 10 members. Well, how would it how will it work, right? But I knew that at some point this would happen. This would be part of the plan. This would be part of the roadmap, but it's just not priority for me right now. So it was just very important for me that I communicated to the next president to take this up. Whether or not he can take it up during his tenure, that's fine. Come this to the next president. At the end of the day, the fact that it's going to get done or it will get done is what matters, right? Whether it gets done in your own time is not really this thing right here, because there's only so much you can do with 1 year. I mean, 365 days may feel like a lot, but like it's not entirely a lot because there are just a lot of things competing for your attention, right? So when it comes to competing priorities, I would say not exactly looking at it in the sense of competing priorities, but looking at it in the sense of they're all priorities, they're all goals, and at the time when makes the most sense, if you get to that stage or if you get to that point, or something like that. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is like, what's the word? Opportunity cost. There's something that's way more personal than the rest. Like, 'cause sure, everything is nice, everything is wonderful, and if you can do it on your tenure by some wonderful magic, it will look good on your CV, it will look good on LinkedIn, but it's not. feasible, it's not possible. And it's not a thing of, oh, I did this, like I am raising your shoulders. It's like I did this thing, I improved on what I met, I added something new, and I'm passing it on to the next set of people. I'm going to actually put that into consideration, because I realized, even though I want to make a, like, I'm like, welcome document for editorial team, I just realized I do not have like a plan for the next editor in chief, and that has inspired me. So to those listening, have a plan for your life. Oh. It's not everything that you do in university. They keep saying, oh, volunteer and apply and send emails. But truth be told, some things are not negotiable, like your degree. Do that now. Then do what you can now, and then the rest will come after. You will not, it's not like everything was packed into this 4 or 5 year program. Like, there's time for everything. Some are just more pressing than others. Yeah, that's a really wise one. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on what she said, right? So if you look at the JCI Nigeria Constitution, you have to be a student to be a member. Now, if you lose your studentship at some point, you can't be a member anymore. So you have to face your books. You have to, if at all you cannot possibly manage both of them at the same time, it is very important that you, at that point, speak to someone, the director, team member, even the president, and they would understand, because your priority should be your books, your priority should be school, your priority should be why you are there in the first place. But I mean, it is just saying Unilag. If the Unilag is out of it, like, there's nowhere to be, right? So, and there's this thing about, it is better to give your all than to give, just very 10% of your effort or your attention, if you cannot, because you're going to really draw a lot of people back. I personally don't like working with people where it has to do with a lot of begging, a lot of micromanaging, a lot of, like, you're drawing the entire team back. So it is fine if at that time you cannot possibly manage everything at the same time. Look at it and see what works for you. I have friends that will tell me that, you know what, this is only school I can do, right? I can't do anything else. Maybe that's their capacity, and that's fine. So you have to, like, know what works for you and make sure one doesn't suffer. However, okay, at what point did you lose me? All right. So yeah, I was saying, one thing being in organizations like this does is it simulates what happens in the real world, right? You're not necessarily going to have it easy in the corporate space. You're going to have a lot have to attend meetings, have to give presentation and all of those stuff. So when people complain that, oh, okay, just sound like just as preparing you for what you will see when you get outside. So as much as, I mean, you can, try to balance multiple priorities, you are able to give a percentage of yourself to a particular thing at a particular time. There's something that I like. Some days, or there's some weeks where I'll give JCI 80%, I'll give school 10%, I'll give my other life 10%. When exam comes, or close to exam period, maybe a month to exam, and school 50%, 60%, 70, 80, even sometimes 100, and this is locked out, right? So you have to, I think balance is a myth, first of all. You have to know what needs what at what. There's something that, oh, okay, 50-50 or 20-40. Some days you require 100-0. Some days you require 10-90. Some days you, so it is really just your ability to always, like, adapt to, okay, kind of me in terms of JCI, in terms of my academics, how can I balance both? So when people say balance JCI and balance school, they're not entirely expecting you to have everything equal or try to balance. Like I said, balance is a myth. It's just really managing yourself, managing your time, and trying to give either JCI school or other or work, because some people even work, right? what you need to give at that point in time for it to thrive. So yeah, that's why I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, that's I I used to be a big believer in balancing because that was before uni though. So and then uni came along and I became editor in chief. And I'm also like a final year student. I have a project. I have things I want to start learning now ahead of like graduation. And I'm just looking at my, let me even so I can show you. I'm just looking at my notebook of the things to do. And it's so long,
Oh wow.
just a bunch of things. And this is just like in the past, like for the next 7 days. There's a lot more. And I realized, see, like for today now, it was just exhibit A prep. Nothing for projects, nothing for anything else, just JCI. And then after I submit my reports, tomorrow will just be like, oh, school, I have to talk about my project issue every day or every week, that kind of thing. So yeah, that like you have such great advice. Well, it makes sense like a president too. Okay, so if you could distill your journey into one piece of advice for our current members, what advice would you give a newcomer with potential but no idea how to start?
Okay, I would say be active, be visible. Active doesn't even necessarily mean be visible, but be very active, and that is very important. So people think that's very, very important because this will give you that platform to give you that opportunity. If you have an idea in your mind, it could even be business. It could even be you have no idea what leadership development, ever in event decoration, but you want to start event decoration business, or in event decoration, but you want to start event decoration business. Volunteer that okay, you people will pay the materials amount, oh, but let me be the one to like there is so much to gain. And I feel like when people sleep on this, it makes me very sad because you're just looking at it from the angle of JCI is stressful. But like, how can I use JCI to get what I want? That should be what's in your head. Like, use JCI, please. Use JCI is very, very important. So yeah, don't just pay membership form and expect that you're going to get better. You have to be intentional about what you want out of the organization. It could be networking, it could be meeting people. You may not even have to do anything with career, or you could just be meeting people. And if you do not set the goal that, okay, I want to make new friends, I want to meet new people when I go for conferences, you are really just wasting your money. So you have to be sure what you want and try to get that from this side before you leave this side. So yeah, that would be my advice.
That's honestly great advice. Like my first couple months in JCI, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like doing what I was told to do. I wasn't doing a lot, and it didn't help. No offense, but it didn't help that the conference fees were so high, so I didn't even attend any conference. And then I don't know. I think towards the end, I was just like, oh, let me just actually try and be a bit more active on the group chats, in the editorial group chats. And the next time I'm mentor in chief, I'm like, ah, Madu, I didn't think I could become a director so quickly and things like that. So yeah, it's actually true. I think recently, it's like Emma came into my DM being like, oh, that she's not really getting what she wants, and I'm like, even if you switch your teams, rounds, and projects, you will still be doing back end work. Like the volunteering is in checking the announcement group chats, is in checking your group chats, and isn't seeing what's announced, is in looking at when they send opportunities or when they send events to be at. Because if you just don't put, if you don't put like anything at all, you you'll be a JC like for a whole year and you won't have anything that you have done because if things just keep happening and you'll not be aware that things are happening. So yes, I fully agree with that. Use JCI because JCI will use you. So make the most
I'm
of.
sorry, this I want to have to that.
What did you say?
But yeah, I was going to add something to that. I think my
Mm-hmm.
network. Okay, so I wanted to also say that it is very, very easy to let's say disappear in the midst of a lot of people because I mean just saying Unilag has a lot of members, a lot
Yeah.
is going on. It's very easy to just let's say ghost or disappear. Like maybe they may not really notice if you have a very good and caring director or team member or something, they may actually notice that this person is not around. But like that is how easy it is to just like say get lost, something like that. So if you decide to not be active, I mean, people may actually call you out and all, but at the end of the day, it's a personal decision that you should make. I don't think it is until you make that decision that, oh, I want to do this, I want to get more from it. How can I get more from it? You'll be surprised that there are so many things to be done. There are so many things to be done that are undone or that nobody is doing that you could do. But if you just decide to not say anything, nobody's going to get it done, right? There are a lot of things, there are a lot of ways you can help. And I do not think there is in any where or any place where you come up, walk up to maybe a director and say, oh, okay, I have seen XYZ lapses. I think this can be done better. Can I do this? Can I be the one to take this up? They will say yes. Everybody wants less load, right? And it's also something that I said before, see the need and take the lead. You shouldn't just be complain about something or be uncomfortable about something. You should take the action. If you're not comfortable that, when we go for GAs, there is no rice and chicken, take the action and say, actually, how about I get everybody to, maybe donate 100 naira and see if we can make rice and chicken. That's just, by the way. I'm just saying that if you have anything that you're uncomfortable with, that it's a border that you are complaining about in any way, don't just complain. If you cannot get that action done, then I'm sorry to say, but you don't exactly have the right to complain because you've not tried. They say I would say see the need and take the lead. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, we're actually like almost done. Let's see. So, what does the next version of Risqat look like? Where are you trying to go that nobody has seen yet?
Uh, I mean, global companies work for global companies. Amen. But really, the version of risk cuts, basically just making more impact in a more grand scheme. Uh, Impact not necessarily volunteering, but also with my work, right? Empowering people. So there's something that I did a while back, which was basically teaching young students, I think secondary school students, how to design, right? Tech tools and all of those stuff. And that's something I found very fulfilling. So that is also, and that's an intersection of like impact, like volunteering and also my work that I do. So maybe doing more of that, impact in the large sense, whatever impact can be, basically. So really just doing more of that and also progressing in my career. Yeah. So I think that's the next version of respect.
Oh yeah, that's very admirable. That's very cool. I hope it goes well. Okay, so we're reaching like this is like the final stage of the
Thank you.
interview. Oh, you're welcome. This is the final stage of the interview where you have like it's a lightning round, quick answers. Don't overthink it. Just first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, so LO president or PA to national president, which is more demanding?
Hello, President. Hello, President. Definitely. Definitely.
Like I assumed it would be more demanding being the PA to the national president. Like how come LO president is more demanding?
uh, okay, so being the hello president, if anything goes wrong, they're holding you. No offense, but like if you're the PA, you're not entirely the one to be held accountable, right? I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's just on a lighter note. Hello, President, you have a lot to do. You are actively managing directors, managing people, the welfare of your members are your concern. Instead of they'll say, oh, if you go for president, if you go for conferences as a president, if your members have not eaten, you're not supposed to eat. If your members have not and all of those things, right? So like it's a lot to handle. So compared to being the PA to the national president, it's more like an assistive role for her to be more effective in a tenure and in a position compared to being the LO president. Now you're actually the one managing people. So like, I mean, LO president definitely that was very demanding. Hmm. Communicating with,
Developers or directors? Which would you rather do?
I think I would rather communicate with developers. I'm sorry. My directors were good. They were nice. They understood me and all. But mm, I think I would just rather communicate with developers. Really, yeah.
I'm surprised because when I picked that question, I was so sure that we were going to say directors because every like designer I've heard doesn't like talking to the developers. Every developer hates talking to designers. They are loggerheads. So I'm surprised. Why is it easier with developers?
So, the thing is, with directors, they are working with you. With developers, you did not exactly employ them. So you can fight them, and at the end of the day, they still have to get their work done. But with directors, you are the one that appointed them. So you have to tread carefully in a way. So, I mean, but that doesn't mean my directors were entirely difficult. I mean, they also understood and all of that. But I would just go with developers, really.
That's fair. That's fair. That makes a lot of sense. All right, last question. Which fictional character do you relate to the most?
Hmm. So I'm a fan of Harry Potter, and I would say Hermione from Harry Potter, right? Hermione was the one that would read a lot of books. She just knew everything, right? If you look at Harry and Ron, no offense to like people that don't watch Harry Potter, but yeah. If you look at Harry and Ron, maybe they were the action doers, but Hermione would really just, arm them with the knowledge they needed to actually like get stuff done. So I feel like I can really relate to that basically, and Hermione did a really good job in helping the entire Harry Potter team, right? But that happened with a knowledge, even from behind the scenes. She necessarily did not have to be the one at the forefront. And if you remember, I said I was not exactly being a fan. I was not exactly a fan of being at the forefront, being at the spotlight. I really just wanted to get things done, make things work. So, however that came, I really did not mind. So I think I'll just relate to Hermione from Harry Potter.
Fair. I knew you would pick a Harry Potter character. I did not guess it'll be Hermione. I haven't watched or read Harry Potter, but I have a good idea on like what each character does and their personality. And yeah, I like Hermione. She has this analytical like powerhouse vibe. Like everybody just like acts, and she would think before acting, and she's like smart one of the entire group. So yes, like Hermione is exactly who she thinks she is. I love it. Well, that brings us to the end of this interview for today, and we're actually right on time. So thank you, PP Riscats, for gracing us with your presence, your time, and I hope there are people who have gained one or two from this. Oh, someone has a question. Toby, that's our current treasurer, asks, what change or improvement would you like to see in JCI and Unilag?
To be fair, JCI Nigeria has evolved a lot, and I think you guys are doing really, really well. I mean, it's hard to even say, oh, there's something, because most of what I had in mind, or I would love to happen, of this to be acted on. I think the current administration is like currently doing that. But what I would just really say is sustainability is very important. It is not enough that you do good in your tenure. It is also very important that whoever you're handing over to does well. It's something that people say a lot, that you are not successful till your successor is successful. And that is very important. So right in your, as a project chair, as a director, as the president, as whatever position you're currently holding, before your 1 year elapses, it is very important that you come up with a plan for sustainability. Whatever ideas that you have birthed, it is very important that it is continuous, because if a new person comes in and does something entirely different and just derails from like the plan or structure, it is going to be very, very messy. And I want to believe that we've made so much progress to this stage because there's a form of sustainability, right? So however that is going to happen, maybe there should be like a form of a proper handing over. There's something JCI Nigeria does. There's the handover documents. Literally, everything that you have used, you have worked with in your tenure. So it gives the next person a soft landing, right? So all the ideas. In fact, I think JCI Nigeria, as a current president, you have to write the plan of action for the next president. So it's like, okay, you are going to have a plan of what you want to do, and you're going to adopt it to what you want to do. But I would give you the soft side because I don't expect that in the first month that you come into power, you're already getting things done. But if I have a plan in place, or if I give you that form of structure, something will still be done before you find your feet, something like that, right? So I think it's just very important that you don't treat sustainability as an option or just an add-on. It is very, very, very important that everything that is being done is sustainable. If something is not going to be sustainable, don't do it, right? If you are doing something, think of in 5 years' time, can we still do this? Is this something that we can still, possibly do? If not, there's really no point. So I think that's really what I'll just say. I think this year UNILAG has done a really good job so far. I would just really love that everything, all the structure and everything that has been put in place is sustainable. And 5 years to come, it is still thriving because there is structure and there's sustainability.
That's honestly really good. I think you mentioned this same sustainability thing earlier when you were talking about not everything can be done in your tenure to help the other person be successful. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We'll keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure Toby's going to go and tell other executives in the group chats that people told us that we should be sustainable. Though. But yes, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming here. We've learned a lot. I'm sure those who have joined have also learned a lot. And yeah, yeah, I can see why we're a really good president now. Like I didn't get to meet you in office, but it makes a lot of sense now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the nice words. Thank you for the feedback as well. It was very nice talking to this UNILAG people, and yeah, I mean it's always good to reminisce and come back to this moment and relive the moments that I had. Be the president. I had a very nice time. Very beautiful questions as well. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I'm always happy to help or come back to speak on something else again if there's so yeah.
All right, that's all, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next month. Fingers crossed. Bye bye. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah. Bye.